You want to know what truly unsettles them when they look at you? It's not the words you speak. It's not the moments you choose silence. It's not even the size of what you're building in the invisible, the things you craft quietly, the seeds you plant that will one day bloom into realities they cannot imagine. What unsettles them most is the way you keep rising after every single attempt designed to break you, after every blow that was meant to make you vanish, after every shadow they cast in hopes of dimming your light. It's the way you ignite from within and somehow remain whole through the flames, carrying your essence intact, unshaken, and unapologetically alive. Every time they believe they've seen the last of you, you emerge from the ruins with different skin, with eyes that see deeper, with a presence that dissolves pretense. There's nothing calculated about it, nothing performative. You simply refuse to remain diminished. You refuse to be tamed. And that is what frightens them, not because you are mistaken, not because you are arrogant, but because you are limitless, because your very presence, unfiltered and unapologetic, makes them recoil. It awakens in them the memory of what they themselves have muted, the voice they once had but were taught to suppress. Watch how brittle they become when they realize you cannot be controlled, cannot be boxed in, cannot be silenced. Watch how small they feel, standing next to someone who hasn't forgotten their own name, someone who remembers what it means to exist fully and unapologetically. For too long you've been penalized for your difference. You've been ridiculed for feeling too deeply, for thinking too broadly, for seeing with clarity that others refuse to acknowledge. What a tragedy it is to be punished for accessing dimensions of consciousness that others have chosen to numb. Your gentleness was labeled fragility, your depth was deemed a flaw. Your sensitivity was twisted into weakness. But liquid steel doesn't ask for permission to be molten before it becomes unbreakable. It doesn't wait for validation, for recognition, for approval. It simply flows, transforms, and emerges resilient, shaped by heat, by pressure, by the fires it endures. You were never weak. You were the material that destiny selected to forge into something sharp, powerful, and radiant. And yet, somewhere along the way, you compromised. You dimmed yourself to avoid conflict, to blend, to be tolerated. You whispered when you were meant to roar, hoping they wouldn't flinch at the magnitude of your presence. You softened every edge until you were bleeding from the inside, until your brilliance was dulled by the weight of self-imposed invisibility. But you were never designed for careless hands. You were designed to be held by your own fire, to be tempered by your own vision, and to be illuminated by your own courage. Within you resides something ancient, something eternal, something that existed before recognition, before validation, before anyone could define or limit it. There is a frequency in your chest that cannot be silenced. That frequency is not ego, it is not pride. It is the echo of purpose knocking from within. It is the pulse of potential, the vibration of destiny, the insistence of life itself insisting through you. And they feel it too. That living frequency, resonating from your being, shakes something loose in them. It reminds them of the voice they chose to smother years ago, the fire they buried beneath obligation, the knowing they sacrificed for conformity. And because they cannot tolerate that reminder, they distort it. They take what is true in you and rename it delusion. They call your vision arrogance. They label your authenticity as selfishness. They reframe your wisdom as foolishness. Anything that allows them to sleep at night without confronting the enormity of their own self-limitation. Because if they admitted you were right, if they acknowledged the integrity and depth of your being, they would have to face how small they have made themselves in their attempts to survive a world that rewards compliance over courage. They become energy thieves, feeding on doubt, surviving on the dimmed glow of those who forgot they were ever meant to shine. They wait for the moment you question yourself, for the crack that allows them entry, the vulnerability they can exploit. Don't give it to them. You don't owe them explanation, justification, or permission. You exist on a plane they cannot access, a dimension of presence, clarity, and purpose that operates independently of their understanding. And somewhere beneath all the noise, beneath the whispers and judgments, they already know it. But here's the transformative insight. Their fear is not yours to carry. Their judgment is not yours to internalize. Every time they recoil, every time they gossip, every time they attempt to diminish you, it is your confirmation. It is the universe acknowledging that you have activated a frequency they cannot reach, a vibration that is aligned with your destiny. What looks like opposition is actually preparation. The universe tests you, stress testing your resilience, your alignment, your capacity to hold yourself as everything shifts around you. You were not born to disappear into the crowd. You were not born to be safe, small, or forgettable. You were not designed to blend into the noise. You are the stone that shatters the surface of conformity, the fire that reshapes the landscape of expectation. Your difference is sacred. It is proof that creation itself remains wild, unbound, unafraid to forge something new, something extraordinary, through you. You do not need to earn your extraordinary nature. It is already woven into the very fabric of your being. The world simply has not yet caught up to the language of you, the frequency of your presence, the gravity of your truth. For so long you tried to fit. For so long you carried the burden of pretending your light was dimmer than it is, of softening your edges so others would not flinch, of concealing the force of your presence so it could be tolerated. But you are a star that remembers the pressure that formed it. You are a sword that recalls every strike that honed your edges. You are a phoenix that remembers the smoke that suffocated it before the wings were reignited, stronger than ever. And right now, in this moment, something is shifting. You can feel it. The pulse in your throat, the heat spreading through your center, the sudden crystalline knowing of who belongs and who does not in the next chapter of your life. This is no longer gradual improvement. This is metamorphosis. Ruthless, radiant, unstoppable transformation that arises when you choose to step fully into your own presence. Release the need to justify yourself. You were not created to be decoded by those who fear depth, by those who cannot endure authenticity, by those whose understanding is limited by their own self-imposed boundaries. You were created to be seen by those who recognize truth, by those who honor resonance, by those who can witness the magnitude of presence without being threatened. Let them whisper. Let them misread you entirely. Their confusion has no bearing on your blueprint, your trajectory, or the depth of your being. What you see, what you feel, what you know about yourself is not fantasy, it is recognition. It is the truth of your existence. You are constructing the foundation that the future will require. Move with silence, move with certainty. Someday the world will call it fate, as if reality bent itself around you without your involvement. But you will know the truth. You were always the center point, the axis around which everything turns. Here's the deepest truth. You were never meant to answer what they were asking. You were not meant to conform, to justify, to explain. You were the question the cosmos posed to itself, the living proof that unconditional presence and authenticity are possible in human form. That is something no one can take from you. It does not fade when attention shifts. It is encoded in your essence, permanent, immutable and undeniable. And now take a moment to anchor that knowing. Speak it, declare it, inscribe it energetically into the world. I remember who I am. Not as a casual remark, not as a fleeting thought, but as a declaration, a signal, a stake planted firmly in the field of reality. Let it ripple out. Let it recalibrate not only your perception, but the collective energy around you. Because here's what most people miss. When you speak your truth, even in something as simple as a comment, a sentence, a declaration, you collapse probability. You choose a timeline. The field responds to clarity. Every time you affirm your knowing, you make it harder for illusion to persist. Every time you stand firmly in the resonance of your presence, the universe bends to accommodate your frequency. You do not merely participate in life, you orchestrate it. And this orchestration does not require permission. It does not seek validation. It flows naturally from alignment, from recognition, from the conscious embodiment of your own essence. Irreplaceability is not about being different for the sake of it. It is about understanding the quantum mechanics of your existence. You are not a random collection of traits, experiences, or circumstances. You are a singular frequency, a configuration of matter and consciousness that has never existed before and will never exist again. In all of time, in all space, in every possible arrangement of energy, there has never been another you. Not a similar one, not an approximation. You, exactly as you are, unique, unrepeatable, sacred. This is not motivation, it is physics. The universe does not duplicate, it innovates. Every single expression of consciousness is an experiment in possibility. And your expression, right here, right now, is the culmination of every circumstance, every choice, every trial you've endured. You carry within you the evidence of survival, of resistance, of depth. You carry the blueprint for what is yet to come. Every time you rise after being pushed down, every time you maintain your wholeness amidst chaos, every time you honor your fire despite external attempts to extinguish it, you reinforce the integrity of your frequency. You are living proof that presence, alignment, and authenticity are forces of creation stronger than fear, critique, or imitation. You are the living testament that one cannot truly diminish the soul that refuses to bend. And every time you act from this place calm, centered, sovereign, you teach the universe itself what is possible. No longer small, no longer apologetic, no longer silent. You are the frequency, the resonance, the force that shapes reality. And in this embodiment, you are unstoppable. You are the axis around which your own universe rotates, the flame that cannot be doused, the presence that awakens recognition in others. This is not a story of ego. This is the story of quantum reality, of consciousness fully realized, of potential unleashed. The cosmos has orchestrated no duplication. There is no precedent for your frequency. You are unprecedented. You are irreplaceable. You are alive in the way the universe itself remembers possibility. And now, let this declaration settle into you. Speak it, feel it, live it. I remember who I am. Let it be your frequency, your signature, your anchor. Let it ripple through every choice, every interaction, every breath. Let it remind you, moment by moment, that you are never small, never weak, never secondary. You are the fire, the stone, the phoenix. You are the axis, the question, the unrepeatable expression of creation itself. And as long as you remember, as long as you rise, as long as you honor your own presence, nothing, neither judgment, fear, nor external expectation can take that away from you. Think about that. In all of time, in all of space, in every possible configuration of matter and energy, there has never been, and there will never be, another you. Not a similar you, not a close approximation, not a version that comes close enough to satisfy comparison. You exactly as you are. This is not motivation. This is physics. This is the truth of existence. The universe doesn't duplicate, it innovates. Every single expression of consciousness, every singular manifestation of awareness, every unique configuration of energy in this cosmos is an experiment in what's possible. You are that experiment, that unparalleled configuration, that living proof that creation does not repeat itself. You are not here to echo someone else's story. You are not here to imitate, to fit in, to mold yourself to the expectations of systems, structures, or people that were never designed to hold the full magnitude of your being. You are here to reveal what has never been seen, to express what only you can express, to occupy a frequency of consciousness that has never existed and will never exist again. That is why they cannot replace you. It is not about skill or talent or accolades. It is about the irreplaceable intersection of your consciousness with this particular moment in time. The precise vibration that you carry is singular, unique, and unreproducible. When you allow that truth to settle in your body, not just your mind, not just as an intellectual concept, but as a visceral knowing, everything shifts. You stop striving to earn value, to prove worthiness, to gain permission to exist. You stop performing and start being. And it is in that being that your real power awakens. Not the power that comes from effort, struggle, or forcing outcomes. Not the kind of power that leaves you depleted at the end of every day. True power emerges from alignment, from resonance, from the recognition that you are not here to prove anything. You are here to express something that only you can express, something embedded in your energy, your consciousness, your very presence. And here is where the transformation begins. The moment you step into that knowing, the moment you stop apologizing for taking up space, for being seen, for existing with the fullness of your essence, the whole game changes. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. Doors that were locked swing open. People who seemed deaf to your presence finally hear. Not because you changed your strategy, not because you forced circumstances, but because you changed your frequency. You stopped broadcasting, "Please accept me," and began broadcasting, "This is who I am." The field of reality itself reorganizes around that truth. Irreplaceability is not something you earn. It is not an achievement or a credential or a title. It is something you uncover, something you remember. It is already there, buried beneath years of conditioning, layers of other people's opinions, expectations, and attempts to define you. It lies beneath the weight of pretending, of dimming your light to make others comfortable. The path back to it is not about adding more to yourself. It is about peeling away what is false, removing the masks, releasing the borrowed identities, and reclaiming the truth of who you were before anyone told you who to be. But let's bring this into the practical, tangible world. Theory without application is merely entertainment, and you are not here to be entertained. You are here to transform. So what does irreplaceability look like on a daily, ground-level scale? It is not about grandiose gestures or public acclaim. It starts with micro-choices, small rebellions that seem insignificant but are quietly revolutionary. It is the moment you refuse to laugh at a joke that demeans someone. It is the instant you speak your truth, when every instinct tells you to remain silent. It is the choice to leave a conversation that drains you, even when leaving means standing alone. These tiny fissures in conformity, these seemingly minor acts, are how your real self begins to leak through. Becoming irreplaceable is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more of who you already are. It is about amplifying the signal that has always been there, the signal that got turned down so low you almost forgot it was playing. Each time you make a choice that honors that inner signal, you turn the volume up a little more, you strengthen your transmission, you make it harder for the noise to drown you out. This is not philosophical, this is biological, cellular. When you make choices aligned with your true frequency, your nervous system responds. Your body recognizes authenticity. It knows when you are being real and when you are pretending. It rewards alignment with energy, vitality, and the deep aliveness that most people have forgotten is possible. Pay attention to this feedback. Your body is a quantum instrument, constantly reading the field and providing data about what is aligned and what is not. That knot in your stomach before you say yes to something you should decline is information. That expansion in your chest when you consider a direction that resonates with your essence is a signal. Your body is trying to guide you back to yourself, to the irreplaceable core within you. Most people are taught to override these signals, to ignore the body's guidance, to push through resistance for the sake of obligation or fear of judgment. That is how you end up living someone else's life, adhering to a script written for them, not you. Living from irreplaceability means you stop measuring yourself against anyone else because comparison is meaningless. You are not in competition. You exist in a category of one. You stop waiting for permission because no one can give permission to be what you inherently are. You stop editing yourself to make others comfortable because the world does not need another diluted version of reality. It needs your specific truth, raw and unfiltered. This will make some people uncomfortable. It will create distance. It will cost you relationships based on a version of you that no longer exists. And yet, here is what you gain. You gain yourself. You gain the ability to look in the mirror and recognize the soul staring back. You gain the capacity to move through the world free of the constant, exhausting question, "Am I enough?" You know now that the question is irrelevant. You are not here to be enough. You are here to be honest. Let's dive into the mechanics of how this functions. When you step into irreplaceability, you are not merely shifting mindset. You are changing your relationship with the quantum field itself. You move from reaction to creation, from responding to generating, from watching the unfolding of reality to actively shaping it. This is not metaphorical. This is how consciousness functions at the deepest level. The observer effect in quantum physics demonstrates that the act of observation collapses the wave function. In other words, the act of paying attention determines which possibility becomes real. Most people are unaware of their role as observers. They think reality happens to them. They see themselves as passive participants. When you step into your irreplaceability, you remember you are not watching the movie. You are writing it, you are directing it, you are starring in it. You have more influence over the script than you have been led to believe. Manifestation is not about wishful thinking or repeating affirmations with no embodiment. That is superficial, kindergarten-level understanding. Real manifestation occurs when you become so aligned with your unique frequency that reality has no choice but to reorganize around you. It is not about acquiring what you desire, it is about becoming who you are. Alignment collapses timelines, it organizes probability, it ensures that what you attract is coherent with your essence. When you are broadcasting from clarity, the universe responds with fidelity. When you are broadcasting dissonance, confusion, or compromise, reality mirrors that. Your energy, your attention, your focus, all these collapse possibilities into the one you are feeding. Think about it. Right now, in this moment, infinite potential versions of your future exist in quantum superposition. All are real. All are available. Which one will you collapse into form with your consciousness? Which one will you feed with your energy, your belief, your attention? Most people collapse the same tired timelines repeatedly because they operate from fear, limitation, and conditioned thought patterns. They recycle the same habits, the same doubts, the same self-imposed boundaries. But you are not most people. Somewhere in you, you sense that another option exists, an option that breaks the mold, an option rooted in radical authenticity. This option asks that you choose moment by moment to align with what is true in you, not what is safe or expected. Every time you make that choice, you prune possibilities, you select a different timeline, you communicate to the quantum field, this is the reality I am choosing, this is who I am becoming. The field listens and responds, but only to what you are actually transmitting, not what you wish to transmit, not what you pretend to transmit. Your energetic coherence is the signal the universe cannot ignore. This is why affirmations often fail. They attempt to override the body, the nervous system, the subtle feedback of your being. Words say one thing while energy, posture, nervous tension, and resonance say another. Your physical system broadcasts truth in ways your conscious mind cannot falsify. The universe responds to that truth. Therefore, stepping into irreplaceability is not about changing thoughts alone. It is about transforming your state, your embodiment, your alignment. It happens through practices that attune your energy, through choices that honor your truth, through courage that allows you to be fully seen even when every part of you wants to hide. It is about consistently returning to yourself, listening to the inner frequency, and letting your actions, presence, and choices resonate with your singular, irreproducible essence. It is a daily, moment-to-moment reclamation of self. This is the profound shift. You stop living by external expectations and begin living as the architect of your own reality. You are no longer a passive recipient of circumstance. You are a conscious creator, an observer and participant who shapes probability through coherence. This is where your power, your irreplaceability, your true influence emerges. It is not flashy. It is not always visible. It is quiet, steady, unyielding. And as it grows, it manifests in every facet of life: relationships, opportunities, creativity, and the unfolding of your purpose. You no longer chase life. Life responds to you. You become the axis of your own existence, and the field bends, aligns, and organizes itself around your presence. In this state, you recognize that there is no one else like you. There never has been, and there never will be. The uniqueness of your frequency, your lived experience, and your consciousness is sacred. You were never meant to be duplicated, replaced, or silenced. You are a singular experiment of creation, an irreplaceable manifestation of energy and awareness. And when you act, speak, and exist from that truth, you not only honor yourself, you ripple outward into the field, inspiring, shifting, and activating potentials that were previously inaccessible to those around you. Every choice, every action aligned with this truth strengthens the signal. Every act of authenticity turns the volume up on your presence. Every decision to honor your essence over safety, conformity, or approval prunes false possibilities and collapses new timelines into being. This is how you step fully into your irreplaceability, how you reclaim the singularity of your existence, how you live as the unique, unrepeatable force you were always meant to be. Their words say, "I am abundant." Yet, their body is tense, constricted with fear, betraying the nervous system's deep-seated survival instincts. While the mind repeats affirmations, "I am powerful," the body refuses to believe it. The quantum field, however, is not deceived by words, slogans, or surface-level proclamations. The field responds to frequency, to what is embodied, to what is alive in your cells, to the vibration of your being, not the chatter of your mind. What most people mistake for manifestation is in fact a misalignment of words and embodied truth. Stepping into your irreplaceability, then, is not about altering your thoughts. It is about shifting the very essence of what you are, from the ground up, cell by cell, choice by choice, moment by moment. This transformation is not theoretical. It occurs through practices that recalibrate your state, through deliberately choosing differently than you have before, through exposing yourself to the raw discomfort of being seen, of being authentic, when every instinct whispers to hide. It is in the act of letting people truly see you, even when it feels like standing naked in the center of a crowded town square, that your frequency begins to broadcast unambiguously. To step into irreplaceability is to embrace this visibility fully, to exist in the clarity of who you are, without compromise. If what you are hearing resonates, if a deep part of you is quietly saying, "Yes, this is what I've been feeling but couldn't name," then I invite you to act. Subscribe not simply to a channel, a platform, or content, but to this frequency, this space, this energetic field that honors full presence. This is not about consuming information. It is about joining a movement, a collective of consciousness, people who have chosen to remember their worth, to stop hiding, to let their irreplaceability shine forth. Hit that subscribe button, not to follow, but to stay aligned, to stay coherent, to remain connected to a field of others who are committed to building the new reality from within. Isolation is a tool used to contain potential. Systems, societies, and even individuals often want you to believe you are alone in your awareness. They want you to think that seeing through the illusion is a form of madness, but you are not alone. There are more of us than you know. And we are finding each other not through shared opinions or history, but through resonance, through the subtle frequency of truth that we emit. Each time one of us fully steps into our irreplaceability, it strengthens the signal for the next. Every single act of authenticity creates a gravitational pull that allows others to remember their own presence. We are changing the field itself, demonstrating what becomes possible when hiding is no longer an option. Committing to this truth brings change, often uncomfortable change. When you stop performing, when you begin living fully in alignment with your frequency, the first noticeable effect is loss. People will leave. Some were never attracted to the real you. They were drawn to the mask you wore. When the mask falls, they are unprepared for authenticity. Let them go. They are not your people. Your real connections, the ones that matter, will find you when you are being real, not when you are palatable. Stepping into irreplaceability is about recognizing your power to broadcast your consciousness, rather than passively receive the world's projections. Losing people is not always a reflection of failure or abandonment. It is often a sign that you have evolved beyond the container you once shared. You have moved past conversations that satisfied your curiosity in superficial ways. You have transcended the shallow connections that once masqueraded as intimacy. You look around and realize your life has changed so much that the old familiar structures no longer fit. That is not loss. That is liberation. It is shedding skins that were too small for your expanding self. At first, this liberation feels like loneliness. The nervous system, wired for connection and safety, alarms at isolation. Leaving a tribe, even one that was slowly suffocating your growth, triggers fear. Vulnerability feels dangerous. Many retreat to familiarity, choosing toxic comfort over the unease of authenticity. But if you can sit with the discomfort, if you can inhabit the liminal space between worlds, a remarkable truth emerges. You are never truly alone. You are simply surrounded by the wrong people. Once you stop filling that space with false connections, you create room for the right ones, people who see you fully, who do not flinch, who have been searching for someone like you all their lives. These connections are different. They are based on resonance, not circumstance. Within minutes, you find yourself having conversations that previously would have taken years. No pretense, no small talk, no performance, just recognition. Oh, you are one of us. You have seen what I have seen. You know what I know. One authentic connection outweighs 1,000 superficial ones. Through these relationships, the isolation you felt becomes a necessary crucible that prepared you for real resonance. With irreplaceability comes clarity. You begin to distinguish your authentic thoughts from the noise of borrowed opinions, your desires from the external pressures designed to keep you compliant. This clarity is a sword that cuts through confusion, distraction, and obligation. It exposes the truth of where your energy belongs. Clarity is uncomfortable because it eliminates the possibility of pretending. You cannot tell yourself a job is fulfilling when it crushes your soul. You cannot convince yourself a relationship works when you feel lonelier inside it than when you were single. Clarity requires courage, the willingness to make choices that may disrupt the life you once constructed. Yet this discomfort is necessary. It is the doorway into alignment, into irreplaceability. As clarity sharpens, your presence begins to shift. There is a quality in the way you move, the way you speak, the way you occupy space that others feel immediately. This is not performance. It is simply living in alignment with your truth. Your energy creates a field effect that gives permission to others to do the same. Movements do not begin with slogans. They begin with presence. True power is quiet. It is not demanding. It does not seek validation. It is stillness. It is the absence of performance. It is simply being. And when it is authentic, being has more impact than doing. People respond to presence, to coherence. You have seen this with certain individuals who enter a room and shift its energy without effort. They are not dominating. They are fully present, fully themselves, and that presence alone is magnetic. Others are drawn to it, seeking understanding, resonance, or reflection. Real magnetism emerges from being real, from being unmasked, from broadcasting your actual frequency rather than a frequency designed to keep you safe. Opportunities, relationships, and circumstances align not because you manipulate or chase them, but because you are broadcasting clarity and coherence into the field. Embodied irreplaceability is the cumulative result of these choices, choosing authenticity over comfort, alignment over conformity, resonance over approval. Every act of integrity, every moment of standing in your truth strengthens your signal. It makes it impossible for you to be overlooked, unnoticed, or replaced. Your presence becomes an axis around which reality organizes itself. You become a creator, a transmitter of consciousness, a conscious observer collapsing the quantum field into the realities you are aligned with. When you step fully into this state, you stop being passive. You no longer wait for validation, recognition, or permission. You live as the architect of your own experience. Your consciousness, choices, and embodiment broadcast into the quantum field, influencing probability, aligning circumstances, and attracting experiences that are coherent with your frequency. This is the practical power of irreplaceability. It is not mystical. It is the science of consciousness in action. And as you embody this truth, life responds. Your interactions, your decisions, and your opportunities begin to flow in a way that feels inevitable. People, places, and circumstances that were previously invisible or inaccessible now emerge naturally. Your energy is a signal that guides reality, and reality conforms to coherence. You become unmistakable. You cannot be ignored. You cannot be replaced. You are irreplaceable, not in theory, not in aspiration, but in actualized, lived presence. This is the work and the reward. It is not glamorous, it is not easy. It requires vulnerability, discernment, courage, and the willingness to leave behind what no longer serves you. It requires enduring temporary isolation, letting go of those who cannot meet you at your frequency, and creating space for the connections, opportunities, and experiences that truly resonate. Yet, Every act of alignment, every choice of authenticity, compounds into a life that is undeniable, magnetic, coherent, and profoundly real. You are learning to live in a state where your presence is enough, where your frequency is recognized before a word is spoken, where your life broadcasts clarity and coherence into the field. Every step, every choice, every act of truth increases your irreplaceability. Every time you refuse to dim your light, every time you speak your truth, every time you honor your own knowing, you reinforce the signal of your unique consciousness. And in doing so, you are not just reclaiming yourself, you are reshaping the field, teaching others through resonance, and demonstrating what is possible when one refuses to hide, conform, or compromise their essence. You are magnetic, not by force, not by manipulation, but by being fully real. And the right people, opportunities, and circumstances, those that align with your essence, will appear naturally. This is the culmination of living in alignment with your frequency. A life that reflects your truth, a presence that cannot be ignored, and an irreplaceability that is both an inheritance of your being and a gift to the field. This is not fantasy, this is embodiment. This is living as the singular, irreplaceable, unrepeatable force that you were always meant to be. You become magnetic, not in a manipulative way, not in a way that seeks attention or validation, but in a way that is unmistakably real. Real is rare, and rarity has its own gravitational pull. The right people will feel it immediately. The right opportunities will begin to appear without forcing them. The right circumstances align effortlessly. Not because you are pushing or performing, but because you are finally broadcasting your actual frequency instead of the frequency you believed would keep you safe, the frequency you thought would make others comfortable with you. And that authenticity is what changes everything. And fourth, you become dangerous. Not dangerous in the sense of violence or aggression, but dangerous in the sense that you cannot be controlled. Dangerous like someone who refuses to play the old games, who refuses to follow the prescribed rules, who understands that they do not need the system's approval to exist. This kind of danger is exactly what the world needs right now. The failing systems, the structures that are breaking under their own weight, are not going to reform themselves. They are being rendered obsolete by people who simply stop feeding them. People who build new structures, new ways of being, new possibilities, instead of begging the old ones to change. Think about what truly makes someone dangerous to a system. It is not rebellion. Systems can tolerate rebellion. They can absorb it, redirect it, turn it into controlled opposition. What systems cannot manage is indifference. When you stop seeking their approval, when you stop needing their recognition, when you step out of their games entirely and start playing by a completely different set of rules, that is when you become ungovernable. Ungovernable people are the ones who bring real transformation. They are the ones who create change that cannot be contained, because their power does not rely on permission, it relies on alignment with their own truth. This is why the systems work so hard to keep people small, confused, and competing for scrap. If you ever realized you don't need what they are selling, if you ever understood that your value is not determined by their metrics, their recognition, or their approval, the entire structure collapses. Free people don't make compliant workers, they don't make obedient consumers, they don't make manageable subjects. Free people make revolutionaries. Not the kind that storm castles or overthrow governments overnight, but the kind that quietly build new realities while the old structures crumble under their own contradictions. And this is where you are right now, standing on the threshold of obsoleting everything that tried to make you small. You can feel it, that edge, that liminal space between what was and what is possible. On one side is the familiar, the safe, the comfortable world you've known. On the other side is what you came here to create. The real, the alive, the authentic. And you cannot go back. You cannot unknow what you now know. You cannot unsee the truth that your presence matters, that your frequency carries weight, that your life is singular and unrepeatable. The door behind you is closing, and that is grace. That is the universe ensuring you do not waste more time in spaces that were never meant for you. This is the moment. Right here, right now, you decide. Do you continue pretending? Do you continue shrinking to make others comfortable? Do you wait for the conditions to be perfect before stepping into who you truly are? Or do you simply do it? Do you let yourself be seen, fully and completely? Do you start moving as if you are irreplaceable? Because the truth is, you are. Every moment spent hiding your uniqueness is a moment the world misses what only you can contribute. What do I mean by what only you can give? This isn't about conventional talent or superficial skills. It is deeper than that. It is the particular way consciousness moves through you, the specific lens through which you perceive reality, the exact frequency at which you vibrate when you are fully authentic. Consider music. Two people can play the same notes on the same instrument, yet the resulting experiences are entirely different. Why? Because it's not only the notes. It's the space between the notes, the intention behind them, the emotion channeled through the hands, the consciousness expressed through sound. You cannot replicate that. You cannot teach it. It is the irreplaceable signature of the individual in that precise moment. Your life is the same. You are not here to reproduce what someone else can produce. You are here to express it in the way only you can, with your timing, your emphasis, your interpretation, your soul. When you step fully into this, when you stop trying to sound like everyone else and let your unique frequency pour through, you create something that has never existed and will never exist again. This is not arrogance. This is fact. This is the nature of consciousness expressing itself through a unique vessel. But here's where it becomes challenging. Many spend their lives searching for purpose, trying to discover what unique contribution they are meant to offer. They look outside themselves, seeking answers from roles, careers, or other people, when the truth is always internal. You are the contribution, your existence, your consciousness, your unique perception of reality, and your way of responding to it are the gifts. Everything else, skill sets, knowledge, circumstances, is detail. Copying others, trying to emulate their path, never works. Because the moment you try to become someone else, you abandon the very thing that only you can provide, yourself. Irreplaceability isn't found by scanning the world for unmet needs. It is uncovered by going so deep into yourself that you reach bedrock, the part of you that has existed before language, before conditioning, before societal expectations. That core is different for everyone. To access it, you strip away every should, every expectation, every inherited belief, every borrowed dream. You remove layers until you reach the part that doesn't move, the part that will remain when everything else falls away. That is your frequency, your irreplaceable core. From that foundation, everything you create is authentic. Everything you express belongs to you. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them label you as too much, too intense, too different. Their opinions carry no weight in the field you are building. Your vision is not confusion, it is remembering. You are not making this up. You are uncovering what has always been true. Move quietly if you need to. Move boldly if that is authentic. Move deliberately, with the knowing that you are building something that will outlast those who doubted you. One day, others may call it destiny, but you will know differently. You were the shift, you were the axis. You were the point around which everything reorganized itself, not through force, but through allowing, through ceasing to resist your own magnitude. You were never meant to answer their questions. You were never meant to fit their frameworks. You were the question the universe asked itself to explore love, consciousness, and existence through human form. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be. Every challenge, every loss, every moment you feared would destroy you was preparation, tempering, strengthening, and expanding your capacity to hold the magnitude of what is coming. What is coming is not small. It is not incremental. It is a total reorganization of everything you believed about possibility. It requires a version of you capable of holding immense potential without collapsing. A version of you that has been tested, refined, and proven. A version of you that knows who you are beyond doubt, and every hardship you have endured has been building toward this. When you embody this, the nervous system itself responds. Your body, once constricted by survival patterns, begins to resonate with authenticity. The static of fear is replaced by coherence. The signals you emit are received by the quantum field, which reorganizes around them. You broadcast not just a message, but a living frequency that others unconsciously respond to. Your alignment transforms not only your life but the field itself, creating resonance that touches everyone in proximity. Every choice of alignment amplifies your irreplaceability. Every act of truth strengthens your signal. Every time you honor your knowing, you increase your capacity to move through the world with clarity, with energy, with a presence that cannot be ignored. People feel it, circumstances bend to it. Opportunities emerge in response to the coherence you embody, not to the desperate striving you once relied upon. This is magnetic power, not coercive, not manipulative, but authentic, rare, undeniable. You become a living demonstration of what is possible when one stops hiding. The right people come to you, the right doors open, the correct opportunities manifest. And you do not need to chase them. You simply exist in alignment, broadcasting a frequency that is yours alone. Each authentic act is like turning a dial, tuning your signal to maximum clarity. The world responds accordingly. This is the path of irreplaceability. It is not achieved by accumulation or imitation. It is uncovered by stripping away what is false and allowing your core truth to emerge. Every aspect of your being, your thoughts, your energy, your presence, your choices, is aligned with that unique frequency. And when you consistently do this, you are unstoppable. Not because you dominate or manipulate, but because the world cannot help but reorganize itself around the coherence of your being. And finally, every time you pass this truth forward by sharing your frequency, by reminding others of their own irreplaceability, you reinforce your own transmission. You accelerate the awakening of the collective. This is not individual transformation alone. This is a field effect, a ripple that spreads through consciousness itself. Every act of authenticity strengthens the grid, creating the conditions for more people to remember and to emerge fully as themselves. Take a moment now. Claim one word that represents the energy you are stepping into. One word that embodies the frequency you are claiming. Not what you hope for, but what you are asserting. That word is your signature to the field. It is your declaration, your broadcast. And if you haven't subscribed to the space that nurtures this frequency, do it now, not for information, but to remain aligned, coherent, and in resonance with the collective of those who are stepping into their irreplaceability. You were never meant to answer their questions. You were the question itself, the living inquiry of what it means to embody love, presence, and consciousness in human form. You are here to reveal the unseen, to broadcast a frequency that has never existed before and will never exist again. And I see you, I recognize you. I honor the courage it takes to exist, fully, authentically, irreplaceably, in a world that rewards camouflage. I am proud of your bravery. I honor your expansion. I acknowledge the truth you are claiming, and the love you carry is felt across dimensions, far beyond words. Your nervous system, your body, your consciousness, your presence, all of it is designed to hold and transmit this magnitude, to broadcast coherence where there was once confusion, to reveal truth where there was once hiding, to make your frequency visible, undeniable, irreplaceable. When you understand this, you no longer try to chase manifestation, you embody it. You no longer seek validation, you generate it. You no longer follow rules designed for control. You set your own rules, and the universe bends to honor the authenticity of your existence. This is the path forward. This is the alignment with irreplaceable frequency. This is the life where presence matters more than performance, authenticity more than acceptance, coherence more than struggle. And this is your invitation. Step fully into yourself. Let your frequency radiate. Let the world reorganize around your truth. And know that every step you take in alignment accelerates not only your awakening, but the awakening of the collective. You are the axis, the shift, the point of reorganization. And the time is now.